All right, what up, y'all? It's Nicely Nate, and welcome back to the That Talk podcast. If you are new, please consider checking out all of our channels. This podcast is on Apple Music. This podcast is on Spotify. I've got the video versions on YouTube. Drop us a like, leave us a review. It helps the algorithm. It helps the podcast grow. And today, what I want to jump into is I actually posted a couple weeks ago on social media about podcast topics. And unfortunately, the self-development podcast isn't the most popular thing. I still think it's because a lot of people are actually avoiding what makes them grow. I do polls and questions all the time about bikes, and I get hundreds and hundreds of hits. But whenever I post something about self-development, it's always very few minimal people that reply. But I got a good one from a buddy of mine that I went to high school with that I want to talk about because it pertains to me really well, and I feel like I can talk about it. And what he asked was how to not fall victim to a situation, how to not have a victim mentality. Well, the number one way I believe not to fall victim to a situation is to change your perspective. So there's many, many, many ways you can go about this, okay? So I'll say where I was a victim for a very long time was that I didn't get the specific type of love that I was asking from my father for my whole life, okay? So this wasn't, just a few years of my life. This was all of growing up. This was, he was there. He paid the bills and we hung out and, all those kind of things. But that just the connection, like emotionally, that I wanted with him, I don't think that he could really understand or provide because, again, I talked about this in a couple episodes ago about our parents and how to connect with our parents. Unless your parents were just straight horrible people, they did the best they could. And I believe they probably still are right now doing the best they can for you. So in that consideration, taking that, knowing that now, and knowing that my dad never intentionally, strayed away from me emotionally, that he never intentionally didn't give me, the love that I needed. He had his own battles. So what's crazy is the victim mindset in kind of my situation right there, we can already identify that I was being selfish. You take that and I'm, what he's going through, and that already eases the victim mindset. 2, I have a son on the way. So what am I going to do about it? And that's what I tell myself. So I think for number 2, you can take your situation and take it as a challenge, not as it's a challenge to your ego, because it's 2 different things, especially for males. That's a very big problem and things that we have to differentiate in challenges is that don't take it as it's challenging your ego. Take it as it's challenging your character. So I'm given this situation here, right? My dad's not there for me emotionally in what I need. I didn't feel like I could have like lifestyle conversations with him. Like, what do I do in this situation? What do I do with this girl? What do I do with this money? What do I do? Like, just, we didn't have we could talk about money, but we just didn't have that closeness that I was looking for. So what can I do now with the situation that's dealt to me? Okay, so I have a son on the way. I can either have the, oh, woe was me mentality and keep going in that downward spiral, because that specific issue right there was what drove me to complete self-destruction, out of control. Now what am I going to do with it? Now I'm faced, to me, instead of going, oh my God, people don't really understand, people don't really get but now I have a challenge. And as a good-hearted, charactered man, I love a challenge. So now what am I going to do with it? How am I going to be better? How am I going to show up for my son? How am I going to show him how to father his children? How am I going to show him, even, and what's crazy is that, and this can be number 3, we take these lessons and we take these situations and we take them as a learning experience. What can I actually draw from that specific situation that I can continue and add to my arsenal? If you guys have seen the Motivation Monday videos I used to do, add to the bag, right? So the bag is, what do you possess? What do you bring to the table? Can I take parts of that situation and add them to the bag? Can I take the hardships that my dad and I went through and take them as lessons? Can I take, the things that I did get from him or did not get from him, either way, what can I take those and decipher those situations as a critical thinker and as a conscious human being, take those away and apply them to how I father my son, right? So your key to not falling victim, because there's no way to get out of situations. There's no way to avoid adversity. So what I would say to my homie that hit me up on this one was, those situations, take them as a blessing. You only have one decision on how to look at this. And you could take it as, oh my God, why me? Or you could take it as, whatever the situation, whatever adversity I'm facing right now, this is actually building my character. This is actually making me into the person I want to be. And if you are spiritual, I was watching this interview with Morgan Freeman, and he said something along the lines of, when you ask for strength, does God give you strength, or does he give you the opportunity to be strong? He gives you the opportunity to earn these strengths. So whatever it is that you believe in, God, the universe, whatever, adversity will introduce you to who you are right then. It doesn't introduce you to where you want to be, but the adversity is actually what's going to push you past who you are in that moment and get you closer to who you want to be at the end. Because I believe that's how life works. Every time you reach a new level, you will be blessed. You will be gifted with a new problem to figure out. And people don't get the fact that unlocking that new level is actually you becoming the better you, the version of you that you're supposed to be, the version of you that you're supposed to show the world, the version of you that you're supposed to share with everybody, the version of you that's going to make you money. That's how you're going to get the bag, is being the best you, going through those adversities. It's like a little kid that, is walking in kindergarten. He walks in the class and he looks at everyone. He turns around and he runs back out. Like, that was the beginning of your life. If you don't get back in there and face that part of your life, you are never going to even pass first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade. Like, look at it that way, right? If every time you went up to a grade and you just turned around and walked out, you never even grew up. You never even started life. So, and I'm not special by any means. These are just things that I think about. These are just things that I think on and contemplate. But I'm not free from this either. I still get the victim mentality. I still get the, oh man. And I would say, for me, my biggest challenges and my biggest hurdle lately, which is why you haven't seen the podcast consistently, and being that this is a self-development podcast, I believe that my duty is to talk about these things. So instead of avoiding them, like I have been, I should have jumped on and just talked about it. It would have been that much easier. I would have got it out. I would have been able to talk. I would have been able to vent and possibly help somebody. But my victim mentality still to this day is, I get all excited. I do all this research. I get all jacked up about having my son. And then boom, I get that. Well, what if I give him the same feeling that my dad once gave me? What if he gets disappointed in me? What if I don't do the best that I absolutely can for him? What if I let him down? I still think about that right now. But as we know, as you parents know out there, parenthood is the biggest battle and the biggest blessing that you're ever going to face. So I can sit around and I can have a negative mindset, and I can say that I'm going to disappoint him, and I can say that I'm going to embarrass him, and I can say that I'm going to let him down. Or I can use that same exact time to prepare. I know it's coming. How often do you know that, your challenges are coming to you? You don't. So in a time like this, when I do know, I can prepare. I think that if you're not growing, you're dying. I think that if you're not progressing, you're dying. I don't think that there is a stagnant. That's an opinion, I guess, to everybody, but I feel like as life passes you by, there is no a lot of people compare it to the world, where I don't. I don't compare that the world is passing me by. I compare it to that my life and my potential, every day my potential takes one step further. I can either choose to follow it and match it, or I can choose to stay behind. And guess what? If my potential keeps taking that step and I don't, I can end up 6, 8 years behind him. So what are you going to do? When you wake up one day and you face adversity, you can get up, you can choose to change your perspective on it, which I believe is the key to not being a victim, is changing your perspective. What is this doing for me? What can I learn from this? What can this specific situation add to my bag for my character, add to my skill set in life, add to my skill set emotionally, add to my skill set mentally? How is this going to better me? How am I going to get past this challenge? That's the way you got to look at it. And then in that, you get to unlock the next step. You get to follow your potential. Things don't happen to you that you cannot handle. Things do not happen to you that you can't handle. And also too, things happen to you in the same exact perspective, but this is how my self-talk is. This is happening for me. It's not happening to me. So take all those little bites, take all those little nuggets and just run with them. Next time you hit adversity, don't panic. That's one thing I do is I get anxiety. I get all worked up. Sit down. Okay, what am I feeling right now? What is the actual feeling that this situation is bringing me? Is it bringing me fear? Is it bringing me anger? Is it bringing me nervousness? Is it bringing me depression? What is it bringing to me? Then analyze the situation itself. So in my feeling fearful for my son coming, why am I feeling fearful? I'm fearful because I feel in a bad perspective, not in a good perspective, that my dad let me down emotionally. So I can choose to look at it that way, or I can say, my dad did the absolute best that he could emotionally. And now I'm going to take what I learned from him, even though my whole life I looked at it like I didn't learn shit from him. I'm going to take what I learned from him and I'm going to add those principles or subtract some of those principles and how I'm going to father my son. Okay? Then I go to work. In your situation, analyze your situation, find out the things. What am I learning here? What is it shaping me into? What character am I building here in this situation? What, like I said, what life skills, what mental skills, and then go to work on it. Don't give up. Do not let your potential get 10, 12, 15, 20 steps in front of you. Like I said, 3, 6, 9, 12 months ahead of you. because then your life is passing you by. Life's not passing you by. Your life and your potential and what you're supposed to be doing and the person that you're supposed to be is most important. So I want to cut it off there because I don't want to make this too long-winded, because I want this to be something that people can use and little bite-sized parts, so you can actually take these and do something with them the next time you hit adversity, the next time you hit a situation, the next time you're feeling sorry for yourself. Don't. Just change your perspective. Know that changing your perspective on the situation is what gives you the power, is what gives you control. The second you have something bad happen to you and you're like, man, this is horrible, and you go, but you have all the power you need to push through it and fight through it. So thank you guys for listening. These episodes are on Spotify, they're on Apple Music, and the videos on YouTube, and I will catch you guys in the next one.